he takes the kid. Oh, he goes, I can't remember which one it is. He finds like a kid, some relative I think is down by the pond on this ranch. It's like Western. And he's like, hey, you should go fish on the other side because right now the sun is casting your shadow. And the kid's like, oh, I can't get to the other side. How come? He's like, I don't know how to swim. What? You don't know how to swim? And he picks the kid up and just throws him in the middle of the lake or the pond, right? That was crazy. That was the way they did teach you. Even when I was little. I went to the YMCA. My mom was like, you need swimming lessons. So you go to the YMCA. The girl just had us all lined up on the deep end of the pool on the thing. And she goes and gets us and she swims us out to the middle and like, let's go. What the hell? It will never happen nowadays. It's probably not the best way to swim, but I don't think you can get out of the fact that at some point you have to go for it. No matter how incremental your teaching is, at some point you have to go for it. Do you understand? You can't be holding back. And you have to be careful of all the good reasons that you'll come up with for why you're not jumping off the edge of the pool, so to speak, right? You just have to go for it. It's just not good. It never turns out good when you walk up that, you remember the high dive when you're a kid? It never works out well for you when you walk up, you go up the ladder, you go to the edge of it, and you're going to get ready. That never works. You're just making it worse, right? And that's where you see all those belly flops and all that kind of crap, and maybe sometimes you walk down because you can't get over that. It's just like the second you touch the steel of the ladder, you just have to go, keep going. That kind of taking that leap off that 1,000-foot pole using Dogen's analogies, right? How do you want to understand that? You have to realize that there is a tendency in us to wait, to delay, to try to have everything perfect before we go. But you'll realize that why are you doing that? Because underneath that is a fear. Underneath that is a fear. And what you're trying to do is wait for the fear to subside, but it doesn't go away by those means. It only goes away by jumping off the high dive, right? And then I remember it, so maybe I was a little more aware than some people, but I was flabbergasted by the people who would come off that dive and go, oh yeah, it was so much fun. Like, we were little, right? And we went to like the college pool. And, in the summer they'd open it up. And so, the colleges you do high dive stuff. So you could go on the high dive and, watch my friends. And, they would just, boom, and they'd come out, oh yeah, it was great. And then I was like, there's no way that's great. It's just not great. But what did they all have in common? Nobody stopped at the top. Everyone just did what I did. Just touch the pole and now you're up. Don't touch, you know what I mean by the pole, the sides of the ladder that you use to climb up? Don't touch it if you're going to stop. Do not. Scrape your damn shin on the way up because your foot slips, but keep the hell walking. Get up. Don't even look around. Don't try and find anyone. Just start walking out and you go. And then it's enjoyable. They have a section in the ranger qualifications where they test for fear of heights, right? And you can see it. Anybody who stops walking, no, you're toast. You're not going to keep going, right? You just have to go. Have you ever... Maybe you haven't done high dives or ranger qualifications, but you probably have done at some point a balance beam. The balance beam could be like, even 4 feet, or I'm sorry, even like 4 inches off the ground, if you overanalyze it, you won't keep your balance. It could be wide enough even that clearly you can put a foot on there, right, and walk. It's way wider than your balance requires. But if you overanalyze it, you'll find it's not wide enough. I need a sidewalk, right? But you can really, if you just keep going, you realize, holy cow, I could totally walk that thing. It is plenty wide. And the same thing, when you see people that are kind of, you know, hesitating, going over the balance beam, versus that person that's trying to win the obstacle course, and they just run across it. Why? Because it was wide enough. My foot doesn't need that much space. My normal running gait is plenty. There's plenty of room on there. But when I want it perfect, because there's a fear that I might come off of it, then presto magico, it is now not wide enough. So here you are at some point, you need to gain control of this technique, and there is a lot of fear subsiding when you feel you have control. But the downside of that is that you now start to do the move too sequentially or too staccato-like. And it doesn't work. You don't have control now. So in your effort to hurry up and get control with one thing before you gain control with the other thing, you don't get control, because the control came as a harmony of all the elements working together simultaneously. So your worst nightmare comes true. The arm slipped out. Of course it's going to slip out. You don't have everything working. You're waiting, but they're moving because gravity and inertia is working on them. So at some point, you have to go like a big John Wayne uncle come and throw you in the pool. You got to throw yourself in the pool. Get off the edge. Go. Or like little David, I'm terrified of heights. You'll never know it because I can do it. But in my head, I don't like it. I don't like it. There was one time in Japan, I locked myself out of my room. And I was on the 4th floor. And I was terrified. I felt bad that I kept bothering my landlady for like a million things. Right? I was just that stupid foreign guy that was just couldn't figure out, you know, how do you hook up the phone? How do you get Wi-Fi? Where's the bank? How does the ATM work? I'm like asking her for everything, right? And she just helped me with how to use the bathroom. I couldn't figure out how to get in the bathroom, right? And she's totally like, is there anything else? Is there anything else? No, there's nothing else. And this came like 2 days after I was really sick and dying basically in my room from a fever, but had no idea how to get to a hospital or a doctor or anything. And all my Japanese friends were trying to call me, and I didn't know how to work the phone, so it wasn't ringing, and I wasn't going to school. I'm just dying on this carpet in my room, right? Oh, I couldn't read what was, you know, aspirin and not, so I was just dying there. And she's all knocking on the door, you know, like forever, and I'm like, oh, come in. And she didn't know, like, could she? It was just the worst day. So she finally comes in, super embarrassed that she had to come in my room, you know, and she sees me dead. And so she kind of got all the medicines for me. It's just a landlord, right? It has nothing to do with me, friend or relationship. So then 2 days later, after she helped me with the bathroom, okay, great, good. And I leave my key in the freaking room. And I was like, I can't go bother her again. She's been such an angel. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this building. And I have always done rock climbing. That's crazy too. I've always done that. And I'm looking at that building and I'm like, I could climb that. And it's raining. And I'm like, I could do it, I could do it, I know I could do it, I know I left that window open up there on the balcony. So I tell my neighbors, right, I'm all, hey, I'm going to climb the building. They were from Denmark, and I'm all, if I die, I'm look down. So I go up and I make it in there, right? And I had nightmares for a good year and a half of me slipping in the rain, and that's how afraid I am of heights. But you can never tell. You just let go, do it, okay? And so no matter how incrementally we make our training or we dissect our techniques, at a certain point, you have to go for it, okay? Do you guys understand? You have to. And I really think that this is the difference, or one of the differences, one of the gateways that you can use to transfer yourself from beginner level to intermediate level. You now are going for it. It doesn't matter if you don't make it. Do you understand? It doesn't matter if you belly flop or it stings your feet or you land on your back or all the water goes up in your nose. You went for it. And the next one you're going to go for it too. You have to stop training so safely, in other words. Do you guys understand that? Okay? All right, any questions or comments on the technique? Couple of things I wish you would have known faster. All the Kihon Waza is cultivation training, whether it be a matter of you're cultivating your mind, you're cultivating your body conditioning, your body organization, your structure, your kokyu. That's what they are. They are not self-defense techniques. You're not learning wrist grabs, for example. So as a result, I need to do them in such a way that they are, one, actually cultivating me. Okay? And what you find by a consequence of that is they are transferable from fixated movement, like grips, to ballistic movement, like strikes. I can tell you, if you see a fixated movement architectural response that you look at and go, that'll never work on a strike, you're looking at someone who does not understand the art fully. Okay? So don't be that person. Make sure that your movements actually correspond to the universal pattern that is part of the very crest that marks this school. And that those movements, because they are part of that universal pattern, they do cultivate your body and they do transfer from fixated movement to ballistic movement. Okay? So everything we do for a grab, you can't do for a strike, for example. Okay? So with your little pterodactyl arms, you can't do striking like that, and you can't do knife defense, and you can't do baton fighting. You can't hold a gun like that, all that kind of stuff, okay? So make sure you understand that about your own training. We're not just learning wrist grabs, so I can't just come up with a solution that only works for a wrist grab.